Introduce you both, Nicole Selwood as Practice and Business Development Advisor at Your Journey MOIRA, and Ben Watts, CEO at wattsnext Group. And just do a quick little framing. And maybe I'll throw to you ladies first, Nicole, if you're comfortable with that. And we'll just speak to what you just spoke to. And then, you know, the same thing with Ben, really looking for 1 or 2 questions each. We'll, 10-minute chat. And at the end, we'll just wrap up by saying, so if there's one key observation or takeaway or recommendation or trend that you see occurring in 2022, get out your crystal balls. What might that be? So we just want to share. So, the framing is the database is people that work in HR or people in culture. So I've got people from the front end all the way through, and we get good engagement on these EDMs. And yeah, how does that sound?
Yeah, great. And then if you've got any questions, just ask them as we're going along.
Yeah.
Yep, perfect.
I've got one key item, so, key trends in 2022. Don't walk into bars on a Monday night. Like, what were we thinking?
Or do.
or do, why not?
Yeah.
Not if you've got a 9:30 in the next morning.
Actually, also, one other thing, Campbell, what do you want me to do if Amanda comes in? Do you want me to not let her in?
No, that's fine. Keep the whole thing because you can just chop it in the middle.
Okay. Don't you think so? Okay, yes, I can.
Well,
just for you, I will. For you, I will. Anybody else would go, nah, that's not part of the brief. That's not part of the marketing brief. No. We'll bring her in. We'll bring her in. I think that's good. Yes, because we can have some fun with it. No.
Or you can deny access. But she hasn't responded to my messages. I know she did have training that she was running today, so it might have gone pear-shaped. Right. Now that everyone's back in a physical room, when it's online, you can just chop it off.
Yeah, that's it. We're out of here. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. Hit the record. I'll hit the record button. I don't need to do anything. I just need to shut up. Shut up, Wayne. Shut up. And action.
Excellent. Thank you. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations on People and Culture. And today I'm joined by 2 very special guests, Nicole Selwood, Practice and Business Development Advisor at Your Journey MOIRA, and Ben Watts, CEO at wattsnext Group. Welcome.
Hello.
Fantastic. So as we get to the pointy end of the year, it's an opportune time to reflect on what we learned. As we know, good planning is one of the cornerstones of success, but often those plans may go awry, not just for bad things, but also for good things that we can learn and improve on in the year to come. And that's the topic that we're going to discuss today. What are some of the key observations, unexpected scenarios did you experience in terms of people and culture in 2021? And so, Nicole, if I can begin with you, you're based down in Melbourne. We know that there was a lot of lockdown there that would have had a big impact on a lot of aspects of your business. And I guess what are some of the key observations or the overview that you've found in this space in 2021?
Yeah, I think Melbourne, particularly with the, as you say, like the ongoing lockdowns, it made people really rethink their career trajectory and the current work that they were in. So for us, I have seen a lot of really long-standing key players in the sector resign and leave. And I think, we were talking earlier that almost every meeting I go to, I hear with quite some surprise that there are vacancies abounding, and for us that's really posed a real challenge in terms of recruitment. And there's also been, I think, some view in the workforce around sort of being in lockdown and being in that essential worker category, but still that expectation, if you can work from home, you must work from home. So a real adjustment for the whole workforce around a working from home or a hybrid working model. And I think what we've seen, we've attracted some candidates that are very, very well qualified, but have come from a background not necessarily in the field that we've recruited to. They've turned out to be really extraordinary recruits, and we're really happy with them. But it's a real shift from previous work that they might have done.
That's really interesting, and I guess that's part of this view that, well, and that we everyone on this call agrees with, I imagine, is that it's about hiring for culture fit, not so much about what specific skills and knowledge that you have. And I guess that's one of the real kinds of wins that you can get. You can get more the unexpected recruit. You know, someone that you might have thought, oh, I'm not sure if they really have the skills to be able to do the job, but if they're a great culture fit, surely that's a better win.
Absolutely. And you know our history, we do absolutely recruit for culture fit and behaviour over function. So we know that we can teach people to do work, but having the fit with our broader vision and values is just our number one priority.
Yeah, interesting. So Ben, I'd be interested to get your thoughts, because I imagine in the business that you do, outsourcing HR for small, medium enterprises, you would have had some organisations that had an upswing and some a downswing. What are some of your key observations as it relates to that?
Yeah, it's been interesting for us this year. We work with predominantly fast growth businesses. And we can move between industries. So we've kept that throughout the year. So most of our businesses have been growing quite quickly, even though there has been a pandemic going on. Based in Southeast Queensland, we've been quite lucky too with lockdowns. We've been able to function quite well up in Southeast Queensland, luckily. Although we are very close to the border here in New South Wales, which has caused some travel issues with some clients. But pretty much hybrid workplace is probably the biggest trend that we've seen over this year. And the challenges for new and emerging managers in managing people in and out of the office. I think when it was just work from home, it was people started to get used to managing people. But as the hybrid workplace started to emerge, I think that brought some new challenges in 2021, specifically to that hybrid workplace and how new and emerging managers keep touch and keep their culture going with their businesses while they're growing.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. And that's one of the areas that does fascinate me a great deal is how performance management changes in that hybrid model. But more specifically, or drilling down even more, how do we go about providing recognition to our people in that in this model? It's easy when you're all in an office. It can be high fives or around the water cooler, or it's easy to do catch people just doing good work. It's not the big headline thing, or he landed a big deal, or those kind of things. It's the recognizing for small things. What have you both sort of found in terms of how providing recognition in the workplace has changed?
Yeah, recognition is definitely difficult in a hybrid model, especially on those little things, those taps on the back, the smile, the body language that you get when you're in an office environment. Trying to replicate some of those things when people are in and out of an office is quite difficult. We talk a lot about organised spontaneity. So even managers booking times to touch base with people and send the text message or make the phone call and reach out. Some of the traditional models around recognition don't work in that environment. So we've also looked at really looking at individuals as individuals and looking at what drives them to get the best performance out of them and breaking down instead of a one size fits all and making more of a shaped scenario for each individual or each group of individuals within a business.
Yeah, interesting. Nicole, did you have any thoughts in terms of that, what you've seen or felt?
Yeah, so we have, it hasn't changed for us, it's just moved to a virtual. We have a Values in Practice monthly recognition award because we are a very values-based organisation and we want people to demonstrate that in all of their interactions. So each month you can nominate up to as many people as you like, and then that gets publicised. So the nomination as well, why we nominated them, what for, and so not just the recipient winner of the award. what we've also been doing, our Chief Product Officer sends out it's an all the best. So it's a weekly sort of an update on what's been happening across 3 separate program areas, 3 separate teams. And it's a really nice way of sort of bringing everybody on board with what's happening. We've seen a lot of disconnect and other opportunities. So what we would do is, in different various forms of connection, just try and now say, mic's off, mic's on, don't mute yourself, and try to replicate a bit more that, you're sitting in the office high-fiving or you're just calling out great work, and trying to consciously, email and say, that was a great piece of work, maybe CC in the leader or the team, just wanted to acknowledge. So, yeah, thinking I would like to walk over and tell that person, sending it virtually instead.
Still doing the action, just doing the action differently, which makes a lot of sense. One of the other things that, I was chatting with one of my colleagues the other day was, okay, so we've got this new hybrid model that's work from home or work from the office or work from anywhere, whatever that looks like. What can be some of the drivers to get people to work in the office? So what I mean by that is, you need to be there because we need to see that you're functioning or whatever, or that's just the way we're setting it. What I'm talking about is, what are some of the creative ways that we can do things differently on the office? I mean, if it's just someone smashing out 50 phone calls doing business development or whatever it is, well, is that really the most efficient way? What can we be doing? Is it the on-site training sessions? Is it the, still work-focused events? It's not just about, let's have a barbecue and that's everyone come in. That's great. But does any of that ring true to either of you? What are you seeing as organizations being creative in getting people to work in the office?
Yeah, look, there's a couple of different things here. I think and going back to what I was saying before about shaping it for individuals, I think it's important to survey your team to work out what does drive them. Because I think knowing that, then you can customize some of the things you put forward instead of going from what a business owner or a senior manager thinks the team wants. So we try to gather a bit of information, even anonymously from teams in that way. But from a perspective of people need to know what a good day looks like, we really like to focus on the outcomes of their role. So instead of a role description, which often ends up being a list of tasks, we turn that around. I call it the adult role description with a number of outcomes which we're looking for as a business, and making that really clear, and then allowing the individual to achieve those outcomes and achieve against their role without putting too many rules around if that's in the office or out of the office. I think if we can get those outcomes clear, take the pressure away from coming into the office, I think we can then see people be a little bit more fluid and relaxed in the way that they behave.
It makes sense. And I guess the other thing is, we've all worked work from home. So, we've worked in an office and so on. There'll be a whole generation, well, everyone from now on that's never worked will be working in this new environment. Of course, not, people working in hospitality or so on, but if we're talking about office-based type workers, that is the new reality. So it is incumbent on, people like us to shape that, I guess. Just to pick up on one earlier point, Nicole, you were mentioning that recruitment was challenging, or has been challenging, continues to be challenging for a variety of reasons. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on, have you had people that you've made an offer to, and then, then they said, oh no, I've got multiple offers, they're juggling this kind of thing, or has there been salary ping pong? What are your thoughts in that space? Because I'm really keen to get, a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, we have a fairly robust recruitment process, which involves 2 interviews and some psychometrics. And I think what people have done, much to our dismay, is, they're in fixed-term contract positions, or they've kind of had a bit of a scattergun approach and applied for a whole range of positions, and then sort of cherry-picked those offers at a cost and time resource for us, where it's gotten to the offer point and they've said, I'm I want a better salary. I don't like the location. I've been offered another position and haven't progressed. So, you know, we kind of do try to narrow it down to who our preferred candidates to going through to that second round. And then that second round then concludes with psychometrics as well. It's been very interesting, and I suspect it's only to continue as we do talk about the Great Resignation and people wanting that really interesting work-life balance that the hybrid working can offer, and those sort of flexible working arrangements. So recruitment, you know, the stuff that I've been looking at is really around what can you offer culturally as an organisation, flexibly, and elements of hybrid working, because I think, you know, there have been a number of people too that work from home now all back into the office, and it's a bit of a shock.
Yeah, really, really interesting. Ben, your observations on the similar topics?
Yeah, look, I agree 100% with Nicole. It's been a frustrating year in that space. I mean, it's been an extremely candidate poor market in Australia and overseas. Actually, but really in Australia, and for the whole of 2021, there's hardly been any candidates available across most industries. What we've seen is all of the shared services, so, you know, administration, general management, marketing, HR, all of those services that sort of shared across different industries have been in high demand all year. You know, roles where we would get 200 applicants, we've been getting none, maybe one from India. Phenomenal change from 12 months ago. And roles, even with our own business in HR, we've had people pull out multiple times, just, you know, the day before starting, taking more money somewhere else. All these sort of things have happened over and over this year, more than I've ever seen before. We've put it down to, look, I think the border's been closed. It's been a big issue. There's been without the movement between states, but also international and immigration coming into Australia. I think also a bit of fear around the pandemic has meant people have not moved from some roles that they may well have been moving around from before. So there's been some really interesting trends there. And we've seen very similar ones over in North America as well, with the Great Resignation really hitting hard there in the last few months.
Wow.
My concern is what's going to happen in the new year in Australia with that same model coming here.
Just picking up on that, about the borders moving, one of the panelists we had on a couple of months ago is a restaurateur, owns some restaurants, and you know, their workforce was hammered with not getting inbound and also across states in Australia. However, one of our other panelists had previously said that, so this is 12 months ago, the feeling was that the organisation would be able to start employing people from different cities. So they're a Brisbane-based organisation, have permanent staff from Sydney or Melbourne where it's appropriate, that would FIFO in, but not very regularly. So a hybrid model, but where it's far more work from home. And, you know, this is an organisation that was, you know, large building type of thing. Have you seen that, Ben? You know, where an organisation will have an office type person that's completely not located where the main office is, and has it been successful?
We've definitely seen more of that this year. I think we will see more in the year to come. At the moment, with the border closures, I mean, even in Queensland, it's still not opening up until closer to Christmas, and until that happens, we can't really test some of those models. But I'm suggesting that will happen more and more, especially in some industries like IT and some of the industries where working from home is a bit more conducive to that industry. But yeah, I think we will see more and more of that. But it has been tough with the domestic border closures.
Yeah, and I guess it depends on the industry and the organisation. I know of a number of training organisations where it works perfectly well, because they've completely moved from the model of owning training places and will just do it wherever, hire, you know, the venue as is, and then the people can work from wherever, which is really fantastic. Thank you both for your insights there. Just to sum everything up, I'd love to get your observation on one key trend or one key observation that you think will occur in 2022. I love getting the crystal ball out, because in 12 months' time, I'll be able to say, well, you're completely well off the mark there. But Nicole, you know, end of 2021, what does 2022 look like from your perspective in the people and culture space?
Yeah, look, I'm pretty hopeful that people will seek, you know, in our line of work, it's that kind of angle of that meaningful. I'm hopeful, always cautiously optimistic, but that we will continue to see what we've seen recently, where people have changed careers because they've been in a role or position that hasn't been very satisfying. And for us, you know, I feel quite confident that we do invest so much in culture that once we do recruit, we tend to retain quite well. So I'm hoping that retention will continue. I am just worried, like, you know, comments earlier from the panel around the pool of candidates and then sort of how that's going to impact. So it's going to be a very interesting time to see what this field offers. And I think really for us, the trends are going to be really getting that hybrid working model down pat, and very much like, you know, the individual arrangement and the flexible working arrangements are probably going to be key to securing those people that we want.
Yeah, individual focused and finding that balance between what's best for the individual and for the organisation. Ben, your thoughts?
Yeah, I suppose for me, we've got an office in New York and in Brisbane. So we've had the Northern Hemisphere version of the Great Resignation, the examples that have happened over there. And I've seen the numbers jump from single figure digits of resignation up to 40% in the last couple of months. On the exact same model as we've got here. So if you look, the economy improved, vaccinations improved, borders opened up, they went on a summer break, and then that started. So if you look at that's happening in Australia at the moment, borders are opening up, economy's improving, vaccination numbers are up. We're about to all limp into Christmas because everyone's tired. I'm really talking to my clients about two things for next year, for really being careful of this happening. But there's an opportunity from an attraction perspective. There's going to be more people moving around. There's an opportunity to get the best talent. So there's an attraction opportunity, but there's a retention risk. So we can't do one without the other. We've got to focus on retaining our good people and attracting some of those, that great talent that's out in the market. So I look at this Great Resignation trend as an opportunity really for business if they get on the front foot and really look at their culture into the new year.
Fantastic. Well, it sounds like there are some great opportunities there. Thanks so much, Nicole Selwood and Ben Watts, for joining us today on the panel. And yeah, we look forward to all your successes in the new year as well.
Pleasure anytime.
Thank you.